That's cool.
You ready now?
Well, here, I'll trade it.
Are you ready, John?
Which one do you want?
So it's 6:01, we'll call this meeting to order. I am filling in for Chair Dave Natizko tonight, who is indisposed. Any changes to the agenda, Robin? Number one is audience for visitors. We have none, so I'll skip that. Item two is changes to the agenda, which I apparently did first. Three regular minutes of the April 4th. Did we just get these? Comprehensive plan review updates. We did get a whole new draft, which is the tracking changes marked up alleged final, and we also just were handed, this appears to be a summary of everything that's happened and that we've met all of our obligations, and so now it's kind of, why don't you walk us through this, Melanie, and then
Okay, so,
if there's anything else in the, I'm not looking for typos at this point, but.
okay, so how are we gonna deal with this, because there's quite a few. Things like, there is some typos, yes, you corrected most of them. I'd like to know what TOO is, because I thought it was TOD.
It's
And,
probably TOD. Was it in the land use section?
It showed up as TOO. I
T-
think when it
TOO.
got transferred over, it is supposed to be TOD though.
TOD, okay, it is all, it's there.
Yeah.
It needs to be corrected.
You just do search, right?
Yeah.
It is,
And-
it's like one.
Yeah, that's-
And what's CWO, isn't it supposed to be CWD? It's supposed to, the
Chittenden,
CWO.
So where there
Chittenden
should
Water-
be Ds,
Chittenden
there
Water
are Os.
District, and I went
Okay.
CO.
That's an odd,
CWO, okay.
Okay, it should be
CWD.
CWD, because it's the water district.
Yeah.
And then
it
it's
should be
CWD?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's,
Yeah.
That's the only one that.
So it's D for O,
yes,
just do.
Just change every.
Everywhere, yeah.
Yeah, just
but
change
I'm not the typist for
Find,
this.
find where it
Yeah.
is.
Okay,
so
so,
anyway, what let's figure out what our plan of attack is for the night, because
Okay.
there are possibly
there's lots of
review
stuff.
comments,
Yes,
right? Like
yes.
typos, but if there are also other substantive things that were either we think should be in there or weren't or should not be in there. We've received a number of emails over the course of our review. We just got some new information from the
School district.
school district. I don't know, when I printed mine out, for whatever reason, it was over 200 pages long, which just seems outrageous to me, but it has all the old stuff in it as well, so hopefully it boils down a bit when, no. How long is the final document?
It's 224 pages. It includes the comprehensive plan and the enhanced energy plan as well as the maps. For the energy section, it doesn't, the maps that have been developed for the main document are not incorporated into this draft yet, so.
So,
It's long. It's gonna be probably 200 and.
this is 120 pages. I love our new cover, but they managed to get this is the town, all of the required information into 118 pages and with substantial graphics, and I'm looking still at 200 and some pages, and it's stunning. I'm just,
So
it has to get small, doesn't all this stuff disappear? at
Right,
some-
so when I accept all the changes,
Yeah.
it will reduce the number of pages. It's not going to be like the town of Essex's plan. This is intended to be an update and bringing the plan into full compliance with some of the state requirements.
And they
You know-
didn't have to really do some of that, because they're a cycle behind us, right?
And they also have a longer process. We started this process in February. So, and it takes a lot of time.
Takes time to take stuff out?
It does.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
I'm just checking, because I still, this won a regional award, and I'm thinking, we had sort of two directions here. One was, we have to do it, but we have to do it possibly again soon when we do it with the town. So the goal was not to do a total rewrite.
And we didn't do a
Which is
total rewrite.
fine. So what you're telling me is this is the, essentially the minor rewrite with all the required new information and energy plans and things that we had to have.
That's
This
correct.
is basically gonna be a short-lived plan. The idea is, as you said, just to get us over the hurdles or requirements, if you wanna call them that, the state, and even to satisfy the regional planning commission.
Okay.
So that in a 2 or 3 or 4 years' time, we can merge the documents together.
So, and so that's fabulous. Now, so I'm proposing, and you can
Okay.
chime in, but I'm proposing that Melanie walk us through here's where we think we are with the entire document. We think we've met all of the obligations and we've put all the things in that we're supposed to put in. And then we can comment on how complete we think we are.
Okay.
And I don't, we need a process to go through all the typos and
Well, yeah.
and I think that's, we tell them
Like
and.
choosing which numeric alphabet we're gonna use, either, Roman or Arabic. and-
That's like typesetting. We're the brainchild of the thing here. We're not
Well-
gonna like spend all night trying to find but we need to make sure they get taken care of. So,
Yes, we do. Yeah.
all right, so, Melanie, will you walk us through the,
Yeah, I just have one thing to say in response to your desire to have a more succinct visual plan. The way we will deal with that is by doing a 1 to 2 page executive summary, which summarizes the policies and some of the data in this plan. And that will be provided to the Planning Commission for review at the May 23rd Planning Commission meeting. I will submit it as a comment for the Planning Commission to review.
okay,
So,
so that'll go in the front of this as the executive summary and then all the rest of the normal stuff that goes in here.
yeah, that remains to be seen if it's gonna be part of this, the plan, or just a standalone document that gives kind of the highlight points.
Could be a handout and people can, just gives the Zen essence of the plan.
All right,
Okay, so what I just provided to you this evening is, there's 3 pieces in here. The first piece is a memo to the adjacent communities, the Regional Planning Commission, and the Department of Housing and Community Development. These are the parties that need to be notified when you're doing a town plan amendment. So the first page of this document is a cover memo, alluding people to the fact that the comprehensive plan is being updated, and that if you choose to warn the hearing, it will be on May 23rd. The next page of this packet is information that is needed to show that the plan is being warned. So this is basically the public hearing contents. So when the village warns the public hearing in a newspaper and in 2 other places in the village, this is the content that's going to be provided as part of that public hearing notice. So it includes a statement of purpose. So it talks about the comprehensive plan being an official document, and it guides, decision-making and public and private investment in the village. There's a section that talks about the enhanced energy plan and the purpose of that, being substantial deference and advancing the state energy goals. The public hearing notice talks about the geographies affected by this plan amendment, which is the village. And then it talks about which sections were affected. So, it's a comprehensive update of all of the plan, all content, data, maps were refreshed with current information. and that the energy section in the comprehensive plan is replaced by the draft enhanced energy plan. I do still need to add the table of contents. I will do that I will do that over the weekend when all the changes are accepted and I can refresh everything and the table of contents is more current. The final part of this packet is the planning commission report. This planning commission report is needed by statute. The planning commission has to warn it, or the planning commission needs to approve it, and it is part of the warning package for the public hearing. So this needs to be included in the materials that get shared with the adjacent communities, CCRPC, DHCD, 30 days prior to May 23rd is when the hearing is being proposed for. The document talks about it being consistent with state statute, which gives the municipality the authority to plan and develop a town plan and amend a town plan. So, I have gone through all the requirements of statute and determined that the proposed town plan, as it's written, meets the town plan required elements. Another staff person in my office has also read it and has come to the same conclusion. Do you want me to go line by line explaining this? Do you want to
No,
take a few minutes to read it? I understand you're just seeing it.
Are you expecting that we actually approve this tonight or something? Do we have to accept all the changes, in which case you're gonna give us more than 2 minutes to read it?
I will, yes.
You have 5.
I'll talk for longer than 5 minutes.
I mean, so maybe we want to hold on to this and go through the changes in the plan first, or the changes that I highlighted in the email memo. Because when I leave here tonight, I'm gonna, maybe not tonight, but in the next few days, accept all the changes. And
Yep.
so then what gets warned is a clean proposed
Right.
copy. And I realize that I'm just giving this to you today, and so I'm not sure if you can approve it contingent upon everybody reviewing it. I mean, there weren't any red flags. The plan is consistent with statute.
So are we gonna be looking for typos, or are we gonna look for substance?
So I think we're still talking about
Yeah,
this particular
I'm
topic.
looking for substance, others are looking for typos, and together will be comprehensive. So on the
That's a
new
good
thing
plan,
that,
John.
on the new thing that we are being asked to sort of authorize, it feels like, I like to read things before I,
Well, would you be comfortable in saying that you could approve it subject,
to reading it.
well, that's what you wanna do, right?
I-
And then if no one has any
to explain the
objections.
schedule again, like, why are we getting something tonight that we have, I mean, I get it, but, are we off schedule if we don't basically say, yes, we're fine, accept all the changes, and what you've written is wonderful?
No, so it needs to be approved by Monday.
Happy Easter.
So,
We have to,
Yeah.
we have to approve it in a public meeting though. So we can't, it's not like we can adjourn and.
so I think what I'm hearing is we could come up with some creative language that says we're approving it conditionally, subject to any comments that are received by Monday, or something like that.
Comments or changes received by Monday?
And it's not the edits to the plan, it's a summary of the
Right.
changes and
And I'm not assuming we're gonna object to anything,
Yeah.
it just, like, procedurally, seems like we
yes,
should.
I understand.
Yeah. Okay, So, let's go through the changes that, and we've been through them once already, is that correct, or are there some new ones in here?
We have been through most of them, so let me give you an overview. So all data has been updated except for table 11, which table 11 is the average annual daily traffic through 5 corners. It's in the transportation section. That will be updated for the public hearing draft. All the references and narratives have been included for a number of studies that we're referencing. So 5 corners, the bike pedestrian plan, the Green Streets Guide, forest integrity requirements, the river corridor requirements. I've incorporated recommendations from the draft parking study and the tactical basin plans. The education section's been updated to reflect the Essex Westford School District, and we've also received some additional information from the school district
Right.
that I will include in the next version.
I sent you the information plus, the new chart that Ben just sent.
Yes, I have that, so that will be in the public hearing draft. The energy plan has been drafted. We had a lengthy discussion about the plan last meeting. Any comments that we decided on at that meeting have been included. I've added a discussion about Accelerate Essex, the incubator space in the village. That you hadn't reviewed yet at a meeting. I added a note or a paragraph that talks about tourism as being part of economic development in the village. That's a new addition. The land use section was updated to reference the neighborhood development area designation. I also added additional language related to historic preservation in the village center, to bring balance between historic preservation and, economic vitality. So that's in the land use section.
Nicely done, Lynn.
Thank you. I added a public health discussion in open space parks. And the reason for that was because it connects back to heart and soul, the heart and soul value of health and recreation, and also to align with our ECOS plan strategy on health, which talks about physical activity and substance use prevention. We also, the Regional Planning Commission works very closely with Essex CHIPS on a prevention grant. And some municipalities are starting to think about healthy community design in their plans. Winooski just did this when their master plan was approved in March last month. So that's proposed language that you hadn't seen before. I made policy content changes based on the hard copy comments that I've gotten from planning commission members. I haven't been able to incorporate kind of all the wordsmithing changes, not grammar, but just how to say things differently. And the reason for that is it's a very compressed time. Again, we started this in February. So, I went through those comments and went and looked for policy related changes. I haven't incorporated the changes in description. To be completely honest with you, I don't know that I'm going to have a chance to do this before we turn this around for the public hearing. As it is, it's Thursday. We need to warn this on Monday or Tuesday. I am working on the weekend. So just letting you know that that's a concern of mine. And then, so the things that are still outstanding, it would be helpful to just take a look as a group at the housing and land use objectives to make sure that they're still relevant and there aren't any changes there. And any changes that we talk about tonight, I can include in the public hearing draft. I think the other data point that I'm I don't think I'm gonna have a chance to update, and this doesn't put the plan in jeopardy of being inconsistent with anything. It's just the data on the after-school and camp enrollment, I wasn't able to update that information. So I can just source that it's
That's the
old.
kind of thing I'm wondering, like, why it's even in here.
In there, yeah.
You know, there was a number of things that just seemed like, you know, okay, well, we have all this great data, but is it in a municipal comprehensive plan? I think goals for housing and
That
things like
needs
that,
to be in
that's
here.
a great
Yeah.
bunch of tables and statistics to have in there, but,
The information about childcare capacity needs to be in here, that's a requirement.
yeah.
After, the data on after-school and camp enrollment, not necessarily, I think just a discussion saying that after-school and camp, I mean, it's a form of childcare,
Right.
needs to be in here, but I can probably take out the data, cause enrollment changes.
Yeah, it's a provision for utilities, facilities, that sort of thing. And we have to state that those things are available,
Yeah.
or talk about the possible availability.
Mhm.
So are you prepared to take a look at the housing and, land use objectives?
Yeah.
So we're going to page 84.
Okay, I don't know, mine's page 95.
The objectives.
Just the
You're in
objectives.
the right section.
The housing goals,
Would you say 95?
95.
Okay.
Okay.
So does anybody have any comments on whether the objectives are still relevant? Have any of these been accomplished?
For objective 1.7, okay, it's more than semantics. It's, when it says compile rental registry and rental inspection program, if funding is available. How about finding funding?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's more proactive, I think it's more in tune with what we've heard so far from some members of the public that have actually shown up. And I think that's the coming wave of things.
I think so.
So I'd rather say, find funding to compile this registry. It's front-loading it versus in the back. Does that make sense?
I have just a comment on 1.2. It says, study the feasibility of adopting and enforcing uniform building and fire codes for housing. There are already uniform, building and fire codes for housing, so it should read like number 1.3, promote adherence to
Yes.
uniform building, and fire codes for housing. And if you have any issues that we might wanna work on, it's enforcing that, which we've been notably, struggling to enforce things in housing, mostly existing housing, cause unless there's a building project there, nobody has a reason to go in usually, so. Right, so, somewhere in there, but I think we don't wanna sound like there isn't one, there definitely is one, it's a state one, and we follow it.
Has objective 1.6 been achieved? No, I
But
get,
we
it
haven't
doesn't,
changed the
no.
LDC,
Okay.
so.
Yep, okay. So those look okay to you?
Yep.
Okay. And then land use is on page,
So, 121?
sounds good to me. I should have marked this, I apologize. Okay, yes, 121. So specifically, objective 6.1. Has the LDC been revised to include any overlay districts and design review?
No,
No,
no.
Okay, and what about 6.2?
not yet.
Okay,
Although I will say our neighbors out in the town have done a really good job of providing visuals.
They're getting there.
They're getting there.
Their new
They're,
EPC is really coming along.
Mm.
6.2, so engage the public in development of these visuals. The Design Five Corners has some of that, and we did
Nice.
engage the public, so
Yeah. we
we could soften that statement a little bit to say something like continue or whatever.
I haven't
Continue to
worked it.
engage.
Yeah.
right.
6.3, do we want to say encourage? Okay. All right, promote the use of, we are promoting the use of it, so
Mhm.
maybe that's okay. We'll continue to promote the use of it.
Yeah.
So we don't have the neighborhood development area yet.
We do, we got it 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's down
It's
Oh,
exact,
that's-
down the
it's
west.
the exact overlay of the Village Center District.
No?
Didn't make sense to only give benefits to people renovating existing buildings with enough
Yeah.
open land here for new buildings that we should give them benefits to.
So, is there any sense that we would use a word like expand opportunities, or do we? are we
It's a
comfortable
fixed
with
area, that
that?
sounds like when you
Yeah,
enlarge the area, it's a
Right.
fixed area.
okay.
I don't know, but, yeah, I just think, this promote stronger, because I push it pretty hard, but.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if you're outside the village center district, but you're still in one of these neighborhoods that's kind of nearby, or you're not, you get nothing.
No.
Yeah, okay.
what about advance? The village center designation and neighborhood development area benefits?
We could say continue to promote.
I like continue to
Yeah.
promote.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was the change in 6.2 regarding engage the public? Since that was already complete in design five corners, what were you thinking there?
Continue to?
Continue to.
Continue
yeah.
to, okay.
I do. There's another
And
D inside.
I wouldn't say these visuals, because it ties back to the first sentence, and we aren't really trying to do that, we're trying to broaden the,
So just take out these?
just take out these, yeah. Continue to engage the public in development of visuals to gain consensus on
Okay.
designs.
All right, any other comments related to the land use goals? Let's look on page 123. Consider design review criteria for main corridors upon approach to the village center. Has that occurred?
No.
No.
It should though.
Didn't we do a study of gateways or something at one, that was quite some time ago,
Sometime.
maybe 15 years ago.
It's on the basement still. I read it.
Some of the comments I've heard, people would probably enjoy, having that discussion about design review corridors.
Yeah.
One resident keeps pointing out the fact that there are multi-family houses on every single gateway that we have.
Well, that's okay.
That's good, because they're also main transportation routes.
Yeah.
I
So you should see.
understand that, but more education to the general public would be good.
As in they're seeing that as a bad thing.
Some of them see that as a bad thing.
unless they live there.
Well, that's an interesting, comment though, because if you extended design review to those corridors, you would have more control over the
Mm-hmm.
appearance of those
The appearance
buildings.
is,
yeah.
well, it's the cookie cutter effect, I think, is it-
Yeah,
everything.
I think
is-
that's a good thing to have, yes.
So can we, push, essentially push to do that, to, consider extending design review to, major village entry
Or we
corridors?
could say,
That's what it
Um,
says.
It's not the right word, but install design review criteria in the land development code for,
Oh, there you go.
install, insert design review criteria in the land development code for main corridors upon approach.
So not consider anyway, we're saying that we wanna do
Develop.
this.
It's important.
Develop, yeah, there you go, develop design
Georgian,
review.
Victorian cities, they all,
Yeah.
the main avenues into the center, all got special treatment.
Are there any, parameters statewide, statutorily that we can't have design review everywhere?
No.
I'm not saying, I'm just asking the question, but maybe we did. Just think about that.
design.
We gotta become stealth, but
So
that's
we're
all right.
changing consider
wrong with
to
that?
develop? Alright. Wow, that's impressive. Okay.
Okay, one thing that hasn't been reviewed at all is the implementation schedule. So it's probably 152, it's at the end of the plan. So my intention with that is any modifications that we have done to the goals or objectives, I will just make sure are reflected in this implementation schedule. And I won't make any changes to the department timeline or funding. And if there are new objectives, I'll propose how to fill those in. And I will do that for the public hearing draft. And,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Under the ecos, should it also have a category for the energy plan? I don't know, just asking.
Yeah, that's a good thought. I could include the energy objectives in the enhanced energy plan in place of the objectives under the energy section. Cause that energy section has
Right.
gone away.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a new one.
So I will make those changes for the public hearing draft, and, I mean, as we continue the public process, we can, make modifications
Sounds good.
if needed. Okay,
In my copy of the implementation chart, there's still a lot of references to, the farmer's market
okay, so we'll make sure that's gone.
goal to, it's on. I don't know. And it still has a heading that says Essex Comp Plan 2014.
Okay,
Right, and it says it's table 16, by references implementation schedule 14, but isn't this the implementation schedule? So what, the bottom it says, look at table 14, so it's kind of,
yeah, like I said, this part of the document hasn't been reviewed at all.
with the joint effort with the town, with the merge plan, like plan, public works and that sort of thing, would that make any difference as to what's merged already, as to who's gonna do it? In other words, finance is moved to the town,
But that's a
But-
5-year agreement, right?
Have they gotten to a 5-year agreement?
I think they have a 5-year agreement, and we're up, 2 years are up, so there's 3 left. if that-
Okay, okay.
I'll do my best to reflect what the current structure is.
Okay.
So you're referring to the services that have been consolidated for both the junction and the town?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll do my best to try and identify what those are and make the changes accordingly.
I'm not sure if it's really gonna affect that who's responsible, it's just that I wonder if some of those activities are no longer being done.
I think the activities were being done prior to the consolidation are still being done by those entities. The only difference is who's paying.
Okay, all right.
Well, and all the objectives and goals that are in here relate to the objectives and goals that are in chapter 4. So any changes that we made in chapter 4 will then be brought into here.
Okay.
Are we required to keep all of this, the land use categories in here?
You're required to have a statement about future land use.
But not, like, do we really need this chunk of, or recitation of the
What's in the land
LDC?
development code?
As opposed to, I mean, even just putting a sentence that says, if
Yeah.
you wanna know about the land use categories, see the land.
Yeah, I don't think that you are,
Okay.
and,
It's a good idea.
other municipal
The safety tree.
town plans don't
Welcome.
do that.
Yeah,
I vote to strike it.
Well, I thought there was one change in there that was done. if I remember.
There was one
Sure,
change
yeah.
because, the LDC had changed.
Yeah.
The planned commercial development is not a zoning district in the village, if I'm not mistaken, so,
so it's just to line up with the LDC.
Yeah.
It's not, so,
I think it's better if it's not, because if somebody reads that, it doesn't read the LDC, and there's some essential
Yeah.
part of what they wanna do is not in that, because it's just racing.
yeah.
Good question.
So then
Well-
I'd say
Go ahead.
we could delete page, what is currently page 124 to page 138.
We could, although I did like on page 125 about the professional office overlay, which is not something we have currently, and that's different.
We do have a professional officer for land Lincoln Street.
Okay, I like her wording on this.
Oh, the wording, okay.
On this versus.
it's,
Well, you can keep it.
Paraphrase.
Within the LDC.
it's paraphrased from the LDC.
Well, I like this paraphrasing better than I like the wording this in the
Well, we should keep it for the
We'll keep
LDC
it.
then.
And we'll make sure we change it.
Because I think I think it describes it better than what the LDC currently does.
nice.
What do you think about it? What do you think about it?
So do we have agreement about removing page 124 to 138?
With the addition of that sentence, telling people to go to the LDC if they want
I
to.
mean, we don't even, I don't know that we have to, but, because we talk a lot in the comp plan that this is just, you know, a piece of it, you have to go to the LDC.
Right.
So I do think it's covered,
Okay.
but that's a friendly amendment to my motion if folks want to.
Oh, I think, well, yeah, I think having the land use description that's in, is this chapter 11? I think, yes, we just included a sentence about seeing the land development code for further details on.
Would you prefer that to be included in the description on page 114? Or do you want that to be the last statement in the land use section?
Well, the LDC really is the last statement in the land use section, isn't it?
Or maybe
Wait a minute.
it may fit better in the section about future land use. I say that because the future land use map is essentially the zoning districts
Right.
and how the land use is categorized and how development will be treated going forward.
Are we still trying to take out the whole section on land use categories?
Yes.
But what, keep the new paragraph on village center?
No, just write in a reference to go to the LDC.
Land development code with detail.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think it probably makes sense to put it in the future. I think that's fine.
Okay.
I'm just looking to see if there might have been a section that you actually referenced it in there, but it doesn't look like it. That's fine.
Oh, it's a lot more comprehensive in it.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know, here it says comprehensive plan elements in, this is chapter 4. Which is page 22, it talks about companion document to this plan is, where the LDC is definitely referenced.
Yep. Yeah,
And,
that's what I'm saying, it's referenced multiple
Yeah.
Alright,
times.
let's take the whole thing out. You wanna find out more about the specific land use categories, go to the LDC. Out.
But out with a sentence or out without
No,
a sentence? No
out.
sentence, okay. Just trying to help.
You're here.
no, 'cause I think here, this page 22, this sentence that's in red
Sufficient, yeah.
is sufficient to.
Good.
Okay,
Okay.
are we going
Now
next? Next?
I think that's all I have.
Happy days.
I have a question. I have a lot of questions, but, so on
Keep on
the,
topic.
I don't wanna, I am on topic. So on the memo, just, Caitlin is no longer
Okay.
on, but then that kind of dovetails into my other question, which is the list on the first page here is we've got some folks that no longer are, we've got Caitlin on the comp plan. Is this as of when it was adopted, or anybody who's ever had any, like, touched it and?
You might have to recognize and acknowledge the fact you did do work on it.
I can say former PC member.
Okay. Well, we've got Lauren on here too.
Right. Yeah,
I
Lauren-
don't think she touched this.
No.
No,
Where is that?
Staff,
Yeah,
Lauren
Lauren
Morrison.
Morrison. She retired.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll just take that out, take her name out.
yeah, cause her title is an assistant, it ended as being assistant manager quite some time ago.
Right.
Okay,
And Patty.
Patty?
And Patty.
She's gone?
Daddy's also retired.
Okay.
And there are new people in. We add the new ones in.
No, none of the replacements, for want of a better phrase, have worked
Can't
at all.
touch those, yeah.
Yes.
So I'm removing Lauren and Patty
Yes.
and adding former PC member to Caitlin's
What do you wanna
name.
do with the trustees? Cause technically they haven't touched this yet,
No.
so,
Hopefully they won't.
so I'd say you remove Elaine and Lori, right?
Yes, Elaine and Laurie are no longer
Okay. Should I say former or?
former.
Well, they haven't touched it, so why would you, why would you even put them in?
Right, that's true.
For staying consistent here.
Can't touch this.
Right.
Okay, so I'm removing Elaine and Lori.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
And this might, and this can change, like, we can change this after the public hearing, right? Or can we not change anything after the public hearing?
We can change it after the public hearing.
Okay.
Well-
Yes.
So then that, cause then it is gonna change.
So we'll receive comments at the public hearing, May 23rd, Thursday, and then over that weekend, I will incorporate the comments. And then there's another meeting, I think it's June 6th, where you will decide
Next
to
meeting, yeah.
forward it to the trustees.
Well, why don't we add Raj in here, because he's gonna
He's
be,
gonna be on there.
he's gonna be actively involved in this as soon as we hand it to him,
Mhm.
and he just got elected.
Hmm.
So he's gonna be an active member on this one. Oh.
Is that Raj, and I'm gonna, Chawla from the advisory committee? The bike advisory
Yes.
committee?
Yes.
So he's now a trustee?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Sucker horn.
Mhm.
Okay.
Don't put that in
Certain people step up on a regular basis.
there. They do.
They did.
You can tell by the bruises.
Alright, so maybe now all we need to talk about is how we're doing the little things that need to change, maybe, yes, no? Okay.
Are there any other substantive language changes that we had asked for that we haven't revisited tonight?
No.
Thank you. All right, so now we can move on to the nitty gritty.
Okay, like
Ladies.
Arabic numbers and Roman numerals?
Yes,
Whatever you
I'm
want.
aware of that, I know. And yeah, I will fix that. I have a note to myself to fix it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, as opposed to, because I was reading this and going, that chapter is in Roman numerals, and then a few chapters later, it's in Arabic numbers, and it's like, and going, and then it references back.
So what do you prefer?
I prefer
Consistent numbers.
consistency.
Okay.
I think,
Should
quite
be Roman
frankly,
numerals, so it's, a lot of times it's, the numbers get big and the M's and all that.
Oh,
shit
yeah,
gets so
I-
big, so people get confused, so
I-
it should
I
just
think
keep it
it's-
simple.
the Arabic numbers are probably, you know, more accustomed to what people are expecting to see.
Okay. And is that confusing? Because then the sections within a chapter are 1, 2, 3, and 4. So is it clear to say chapter 1, section 1, or would you prefer chapter 1, section A?
Section 1.1.
Yeah, because we've used
So many
1.1, we've had all kinds of like 1.17, you know, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
Things before, I believe that's the coding system.
Well, in the objectives, you say that, right? 6.1,
Yeah.
6.2, 6.3, 6.4. So that would be more consistent.
Okay, so then I will make sure that it's chapter 1, Arabic numbers, and then it'll be section 1.1, 1.2.
Only here's that the Irish numbers. but,
Okay. You ready to deal with, okay, so substantive things, is that, okay, this is not a typo. I'm gonna take it to page 8. When it comes to the third line under design 5 corners, it's not the awkward sentence. And I would suggest either that or which. So when it reads, future call design 5 corners that focused, on potential future development of village center,
It should be which,
or which?
should be which,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Some people, you know, have preferences as to which, or that.
It's the WHICH, not the
Yes.
WITCH, that's my preference on the which.
So then it goes down
It's okay.
later, after the black 1, 2, 3, it says several popular design elements. Do we need the word popular?
Well, it's an oxymoron, isn't it?
I'm just wondering about it, as if we're reading that.
No.
I
No,
think there was,
that does,
they're trying to establish some sense of the, excitement coalescing around
Design Five
some
Corners.
items.
What they're really saying is, it was popular at Design Five Corners during that event.
Yeah, yeah, I
okay,
think that's what they're
Past
saying.
tense.
okay, all right. So if you go to the next page, and when the paragraph is that says Crescent Connector, the last sentence says, while on average 6 vehicles park on Main Street. And do we wanna say that, okay, or do we wanna say, it says, this is several new spaces are expected to be added? Well, I guess my question is, where the heck are those new spaces gonna go on Railroad Avenue? But, do we wanna say how many spaces were removed?
Does it matter? It's still in design development.
Well, if further in the document, when we talk about, I guess I'm trying to be consistent about, we talk about spaces being there, or being removed, or being replaced, at this very same time as those businesses that are gonna be on the Crest Connector will expect to have those spaces utilized by the customers who are patronizing businesses on the Crest Connector.
The public.
Public, okay.
Why
Now,
are we
regular-
talking about spaces at all in this document?
Well, we're talking about spaces, and so
Eliminate the whole sentence.
I'm just trying to be thinking about how I'm reading this consistently, going, here's spaces, there's spaces, there's.
I think that's in the weeds for this
Yes.
thing.
Delete it.
I don't think it matters how many spaces there are.
Well, it's important that we're conscious of spaces,
There's a
but
need
that's,
for it, yeah.
we shouldn't
Right.
be talking about, any detail,
Yes,
yeah,
this is the big picture.
big picture.
The big picture.
Okay, so
20,000
Just
feet.
delete that
Start
sentence.
to say
that was
yes.
that sentence, I just,
That's good, Diane.
I'm just trying to
Good
weigh
catch.
this as to, what are we, so, notice I'm not dealing with typos at the moment. So,
Well done.
Whatever, if you find them,
Okay,
you tell us.
so, on page 11.
No, Josh.
No.
Careful what you ask
Oh
for, you
my
might.
gosh.
Amber and I can have fun with this, okay.
So this designated
I don't think- yeah,
typo
I mean-
finder.
Yeah, you're the designated typo finder. I
You
think
Make a lot of
if
money
there's
proofreading,
typos-
Diane,
Melanie, what do you want us to do with typos?
No,
Let's just solve that issue right now. So you want us to just keep sending you those up until a certain period of time, or?
Yeah. Better done that
Okay.
way. It's
Okay.
Yeah,
better.
all right, so
Okay.
then let's do
so
that.
I'm just doing sensitive stuff.
Yeah,
But
but
I
I-
just wanted to address that issue,
All right.
so we got it off the tip.
But I do wanna stress that time is of the essence.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, believe me, I know, I'm going to the funeral next week, I
Yeah.
only got a limited amount of time.
So,
here
well-
tonight.
Give us a drop dead date time.
Yeah, I don't
For
know that I'm
typos.
gonna be able to get all the typos
I think
fixed for the
typos
public
could-
hearing
yeah,
draft.
Well, I don't think that matters because the word's still the word.
Right.
It's just, it wasn't spelled correctly, so,
Well, I think it
We
was
can change
spelled
those after the
correctly.
Usually it's capitalization,
Okay. Right.
actually.
well, there
Okay.
you
So
go.
then maybe what we can say is like hold those for now until.
I mean, you could send them to me and, I'll see what I can do.
So, the next substantive
So if it's
thing,
late going in or something, what's that gonna cause, a chain reaction, a bunch of other things not happening? Or
Yes, because then,
Yeah, it's
because
all
the
bad.
plan expires in August. And so there's May, June, July, there's 3 months of public process needed to get your plan readopted in August.
right,
So that's why we're working up against this time constraint. Because if we don't get it adopted by August, you will have an expired plan.
Yeah, we don't wanna do that, so we
Mhm.
can keep
Okay.
working on the typos
Okay.
until the day we say it's done,
Mhm.
and it's printed, so,
Okay,
And I can't imagine if we print it and we haven't capitalized some things, when we print it again, we don't need to run the system and say we put a P in plan instead of a small.
Right. Right. What you don't wanna do is make substantive changes at the last public hearing when it's in front of the trustees.
no,
Cause then you'll have to warn another public hearing.
okay, so,
we can get the trustees to make the changes, no, we won't have to warn
oh,
them.
there we go, okay. So on page 11, okay, there's a sentence, underneath the blue wording on here, it says construction completed. The sentence that says the tree farm was acquired for recreation, there's a joint effective, do we need to have that? Because that is supposed to be future oriented, accomplished objectives. It was accomplished last plan, not
Yeah.
this
I remember.
period.
Right.
So we'll take it out,
Take it out.
So please take that one out.
okay?
We'll work on the new stuff.
Shortened by a minute.
Hey, that's another whole 2 sentences.
Objective 2.6, that
Yeah.
can come out, right?
Well, we held a design charrette. I don't know that we've finished developing design standards for downtown, but we came up with the design 5 corners, so if you're gonna say anything in there, you should be saying something about, continuing to pursue the design objectives established in the,
Yes, you just
public
say,
process resulting in design 5
or
corners.
you just say continue to advance the established design standards.
I think they're trying to get at the notion that we actually had a public process and it resulted in something, and that would be important to say, and
Mm-hmm.
that we're still working on that.
Well, it says hold an enhanced community discussion, which means it could be part 2 to this.
Yeah, could be.
Part 1 was done, part 2 maybe should happen, I think.
All right, what's next?
What's next?
Yeah, keep
Um,
going. If I have to go page by
Oh.
page.
I'm not going page by page. I'm trying to find where I wrote things in the margin.
We're sleeping here today.
Okay, I'm going. I'm not looking at typos anymore. Energy we can get rid of. Okay, on page 31. Does Railroad Avenue recess still exist?
Not that I've heard of in a while.
Okay, so,
Where is that?
this is on
31.
page 31.
Okay, where on
It is
31?
the second dot from the top. It says the downtown revitalization group has
Oh,
been
yeah.
formed. They were active, quite active for a while, and I don't know that their work is being utilized, but I don't think that they're, there's another one, I deleted another one.
Look at you, another chocolate for Diane.
There we go.
Yeah, it won't
We're
be
gonna
enough
be
for
down to
me.
like 10 pages by the end of this meeting.
John's gonna be happy
We
man.
keep this up, I won't have chocolate left for me. Well, their plans are supposed to be done every 5 years, not 8, right?
No,
It's
it's
8 years
8
long.
now.
It's 8 years?
Yeah.
Most of the planners in Chittenden County wanted it to be 10 years, but the state said 8.
Well, it was 5, now it's 8.
Happy days again? Yes.
Okay, that's fine. So, 32,
Okay.
remove flex seal.
Turncoats. They're in Lewiston.
It's still here.
They're moving to
what?
Lewiston.
It hasn't gone anywhere.
Oh, it
yet.
hasn't gone yet. Well, you just answered incorrectly then.
Didn't.
You should do it. Just don't hold it.
I knew more than John knows, what can I say? Anyway.
All right, leave it. It's fine
Okay.
for now. We'll adjust it in the 3rd draft.
That wasn't funny.
Hold on.
On page 42, the Pariseau Farm is owned by the Essex Westford School District.
Wait, hold on, it takes me a while to get there. Say that again?
The Pariseau Farm, Jay, is owned by
Okay.
the Essex Westford School District. All the school properties were converted to Essex Westford.
Okay,
So there is no, Essex Junction School District has been unincorporated.
okay. Thank you.
If that helps with the objectives later. Just putting in school district would probably be generically fine.
Okay.
Or it would be generically correct, but wrong.
Question I have for you on page 44, are the volleyball courts still in the plan for Essex Recreation?
I think so.
Okay. I've heard, that's a typo. Okay, hold on.
Turn the page quickly.
Hey,
And
Well, how
Page-
can you say, well, they're in the sand volleyball courts are currently in the FY17 capital plan.
Say that again?
didn't all their projects get moved into the general budget, or still
I think they're still separate.
separate? Okay.
They merged in so much as Essex, Parks and Rec, Sharon Office, and Maple Street, that's it. So
Okay, oh,
I don't even
No.
know why we're talking about them really. I'm not sure they need to be in here either.
oh no, we need to know what the
We
first
have a
recreation center.
pool, we have X, we have Y. We're thinking about sand volleyball courts, is that?
I'm just saying that it's in there, I'm kinda wondering if it needs to be there. So on page 53, we have two charts. We have, the chart on 52 is a sidebar,
Mm-hmm.
but the one behind it on page 53 is a duplicate of the one on
Oh.
52.
Okay. That may go away when I accept the changes.
Well, look, it was in black, so I'm,
yeah, they're both.
They don't, it's an image and the images don't really show up as a delete.
okay,
So one may be deleted, but it doesn't get deleted until I accept the changes.
okay, all right.
And it's referencing a 2008 plan, why are we doing that? Do we just like this quote, is this
I mean, it may no longer be relevant. We're not necessarily talking about the open space plan anymore because we're talking about the Vermont Conservation Design Project. So we can strike this.
Yay,
Take it out? Okay.
Another branch saved.
there's another one.
sanding
Saved
ground?
at least another branch.
Oh.
jump ahead to 69, you have it highlighted. I don't know if you need comment from on stormwater permit.
Yeah, I had a question about whether that
Okay.
occurred.
Jim Jutras.
Yep.
Okay.
If not Jim,
Chelsea?
Chelsea might actually give you a quicker answer.
Okay.
On page 72, we're talking about Essex Junction policies and procedures on the first clump of words at the top of the page. Do we want to reference where that can be found?
Did you say 72?
72. Is this something that's on the website? Is this something that's,
Essex Junction policies and procedures.
because, is that the ordinances? Is that, I don't think there's a click-on space that says policies and procedures. So if we're gonna send somebody somewhere, I think we should send them to the correct spot.
So I'm not seeing where those words are.
It's the
Very-
third line down from the top.
Oh, there we go. Okay,
It's just, it's got a reference to
Yeah.
something and we don't know where it's at.
Right, we're gonna send somebody to section 7, and want
Okay.
them to send her to the right place.
so we're removing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I call it.
Not that this isn't really good, helpful information on CSWD, but do we need all of that? I mean, all of that additional, page 74, sorry. Is this some, like, is a requirement?
I mean, you are required to talk about, utilities.
Mm-hmm.
It's
that
not
considered a
specific,
utility?
it's, yeah, I mean, it's a utility and facility. I'm just trying to find the goal that specifically talks about it. And, I mean, the goals are silent on whether you need the data.
Mm-hmm.
You had the data in the previous plan, so I updated it. That was part of the agreement that all the data would be updated.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to say it, but compost and waste is actually gonna be an effect on people starting this summer.
No, I know that, and I'm not saying, like, delete all of that, like, it's
I'm
good, helpful information, I'm just actually looking at maybe that in calendar year 2017 down.
So the goal that governs that is to plan for, finance, and provide an efficient system of public facilities and services to meet future needs. Public facilities include sewage and solid waste disposal. You know, and in my determination, I talk about how the plan addressed that goal, you know, and that it's identifying the means for providing these facilities, you know, mostly through, like, you know, private providers or other entities.
I'm okay leaving it in.
Yeah, I agree with you, it was there. On page 78, under teen center, in the new red verbiage, first line,
Mm-hmm.
it says is located, Essex Teen Center is located in Essex Chips. How about teen center is run by Essex
Okay.
Chips? Since you already give the location of where it's at. I'm wondering about, there's sections that come next with the police and the rescue. There's some references to the Essex Town 2016 Town Plan. They just kind of, they seem stuck in there, like they're just there, as opposed to flowing with what is there. Would it be better to say these sections are to be found or in the Essex Town Plan versus, since it's being jointly done? As opposed to just saying the source for this is the Essex Town Plan.
I mean, I can take that sentence out and just include in parentheses where that was taken from, or,
You just footnote it?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so on page 89, there is an infographic.
Mm-hmm.
Does that need to be labeled as a figure, or is that fine just being unlabeled?
I was feeling like it was fine to be as an infographic and not labeled.
Okay. page 94, I'd like to have some consistency. There are addresses for some of the projects. There are some projects that don't have addresses. Some of the projects are in the town. This is in the housing section?
Mhm.
Okay.
So is your preference to take out the addresses and remove the ones that are in the town?
Yeah, because it says the village has.
The village
Well,
has.
Okay,
No,
well,
it
it says the
says
village
the-
and the
The
town.
following
Okay.
projects of the village and the town have been built.
Right. I mean, I have no problem having all those projects there. It's either be consistent to have them with addresses or without addresses. For consistency.
So I'm gonna take out the address, cause there's only one with an address,
Yeah.
instead of trying to find all the other addresses.
All right.
Okay, so on page 98, I'm really sending you guys part. This is the third paragraph. And as I read this paragraph, as I'm reading it, the sentence that says, this will redirect Route 15 traffic around the village center. My gut reaction to this is, are we trying to send all the traffic onto the side streets to avoid five corners? Or am I not grasping what this sentence says, because I'm.
Can you read the whole sentence?
Well, it says, this will redirect Route 15 traffic around the village center.
Well, it's included in the street network, bicycle lanes, public transit, possibility of commuter rail, shared use paths, sidewalks, and implementation of the Design Five Corners project to pedestrianize the short section. This will redirect Route 15 traffic.
Yeah, I think it should be a
A
comma
comma, yeah.
in this,
Okay,
not
okay.
capital T.
Yeah.
All right, because something wasn't quite,
Yeah, it sounds more expansive than it is.
okay. Okay, so page 103, the first full paragraph, I always think it's full paragraph, it says see tables 3, 5. I'm assuming this is 3 through 5. And the bicycle pedestrian plan for a list of projects in each category. Is this something somebody can find? And where would they look?
It is linked.
It is linked.
You just
Okay.
can't see the link with track changes on.
Okay, so this is gonna be a hot link?
Yes.
Cool, all right, I'm done. I'm not worried.
That one's good.
Hey, well,
I like that. I like that.
hot links are always good. Because then it, I don't have to worry about what, how can you find this?
All right.
And I'm not gonna worry about the GMT changes, because they're still in progress. And I know that you have to get a snapshot sometime. Oh, that's. Okay, what's this? Okay, so in page 118, we're talking about various areas. In my neighborhood, which is the Warner Avenue area, there is, and has been for the last 30-odd years, a multifamily home that was converted, I don't know when, on Willie's Court. So that paragraph, that there are no multifamily conversions, is incorrect. That used to be a single-family home.
So there's one.
So there's one. Hey, there may be others that I'm not
No
aware
one
of,
knows about it.
but nobody knows about, but that one is
You also
well
want to
known.
say that it's likely been cleaned up in the recent past.
No, we're not
When
gonna
you go
talk about
up-
the cleanup or
You
any
go up
other
Route
stuff.
15, you take a right in that little spur there, there's an apartment in there too. Two units in there somewhere, a friend of mine lives in one of them, so that's in there.
So it's not a no,
So, do you wanna remove that sentence?
please.
Well, let's read the whole
Or,
thing.
or read,
The
well-
neighborhood is maintained a single-family residential character, correct.
yes.
No multifamily conversions have been located.
She located one.
I can't.
I'm reading the
I can't
word
avoid-
something different.
I can't avoid seeing it every time I do leave my neighborhood.
At least you don't mind looking as much as you used to.
You drive-
Well, this is
you
true,
drive
it's
right
much
across
better
the
than what
street.
it was.
It can get
Okay.
better, but,
Well, he's working on it.
okay.
There's a cat in the window when I drive by sometimes.
So if we want to be correct, we could say there has been one multifamily conversion located.
That Diane Clemens has located.
At least one.
I think
At
we should give
least
her a
one,
shout out.
at least one, okay, there, I'm having a problem with the factually incorrect, because it's one.
As far as we know, there has been one. But Andy says maybe there's two.
Maybe
I
there's
don't
two.
know. I don't know.
Probably didn't get a permit, so.
No,
Yeah,
well,
there's a
there's a lot of people like that around here,
That's
Andy.
another discussion. You should have heard the conversations about unpermitted multifamily homes in other areas.
Can we just take the whole
Oh,
sentence
gosh.
out?
Let's remove it.
It got heated.
Yeah, you can just take the sentence out, that does work.
Um,
Just concentrate on character. There are no longer any sheep in the John Alden neighborhood.
No sheep. Hey, there's no, when I moved into my neighborhood, there was a horse in the back paddock.
like
It isn't
that.
there anymore.
Is there a page that references all these abbreviations, like what they all mean for somebody?
No, they're-
HC and multifamily's gonna have, HC, what's that one?
They're usually abbreviated, it's usually an abbreviation right after the original time, and that's how it usually is. So there's not a page
So
of
it's like a
them.
page of like.
No, so,
glossary,
so the
glossary.
first time it says multifamily, it's gonna be
Yeah.
quotation MF or whatever.
Right.
And then they use the abbreviation
And I-
throughout, but there's no,
There's no like page.
There's no
marks.
page.
Alright, what page are you on now?
And I think that section that you're looking at is gonna be
that is
removed.
gonna be removed.
Right, so.
Susan
what-
Wilson Road to Willie's Court, it says HC to MF/MU-1.
What page you on?
118, Reddy Susan
Oh.
Wilson Road. It was recently rezoned from HC, so what's HC mean?
Heavy commercial.
Oh, and
Those
there.
are zoning districts.
Well, does it need to be in there? At all?
To MF/MU-1, so
Why don't we
multifamily
have any of this
slash
stuff
MU.
in there? Lands.
Well, it hasn't been recently rezoned anymore.
No,
I mean, can we just keep it the same sort of things we have in Warner Avenue? It just says
it's zero.
what the character is.
What, yeah, it's just dominated by just.
So then on page 118 under Summit, you would take out this section of Pearl Street should be rezoned to R2, right?
Right.
So take that piece out and then, so basically you're gonna eliminate then Susie Wilson. Just delete that second sentence.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So anywhere it says, is there anything else? Oh, the addition on Maple Street on 119.
What was the last thing that you said, Amber?
Oh, Maple Street, the addition on Maple Street corner 119 to add that it says zone R2 and no more multi.
Okay, just remove that.
Yeah, I guess then we don't have to make them very easy to understand what we're talking about.
Okay.
Okay, so, going to page 139. It's chapter 14, implementation. There's a yellow spot
No?
on table 14.
which probably is table
That's the
16.
implementation table.
So is that the correct number for that table at this point?
It's titled 16 on the table.
I know that, which is why I'm.
Too soon to tell.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so leave it highlighted till you
Yeah.
Okay,
coordinate it.
That's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
hey, it's a yellow mark.
Page 190.
Page
190?
Hey, okay, so,
I'm just trying to help.
That's what you're here for,
Moving
John.
right along.
okay, so on 143, in the Vermont Agency of Transportation paragraph,
Yeah.
which is about more than halfway down,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say they're very nice to the village.
they are very nice to the village. So what is seeping? What is it, funding for a seeping study?
Supposed to be a sleeping study.
Sleeping study from the Agency of Transportation.
Okay.
Scoping.
Scoping,
From the
okay,
audience.
okay. Because I'm going seeping, are we trying to find out that Brownfield?
This is from your 2014 plan, by the way, sorry.
Well, we're still working on revisions for that.
I didn't know if we were looking for brownfields, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so this is scoping.
Did we have the Connect Road grant in 2014?
I don't know.
That'd be very sad if we did. We haven't built anything yet.
Yeah, why am I listing anything that has any, a 2014 tag on it? We should scrutinize carefully and make sure it doesn't need to be updated. Is that the last one?
Well, if Connect Road came in 2014, that's pretty sad, but maybe.
Have there been any other,
I can check it. I was looking at the grant agreement today, so I can check when I signed it.
see if there's anything else that's, yeah, okay.
You also have a grant, don't forget, for the multi-use plan. That's the last plan. And we did get a grant, Regional Planning Commission, to do the study for Railroad Avenue and the train station the last few years. And we also got the grants from Susie Wilson for West Street Extension, and then from Athens Drive to 289.
So do you wanna
So will you send that to me?
send a list to
I'm
them?
You
ready.
think I'm gonna remember tomorrow?
I'll send you an email.
That I'll remember.
Alright, and then the whole implementation chart needs to be updated
Right.
anyway.
Right, okay. So when I was online because I don't have the maps, except if I see them online. The map number 3, which is not here, okay. The dog park is not on there, and it's quite a feature, over at the state lands, so is the second half. We talk about having the addition to the community garden, but only the old section, the new section where Amber spends a lot of her time, is not listed on there.
Okay, so add the dog park to
Add the-
map 3.
Yes, add the dog park, because I think it would be a point of interest for somebody. And if you can add the community garden new section, which is, the eastern part of that green spot.
The community gardens were added to the land use map. There's 2, there's the what, is there
There's
3?
There's 3.
Three.
Okay.
Okay, there's 3 sections. 2 of them are at the West Street property and one's on Meadow Terrace.
Meadow Terrace,
Right.
okay.
I got the dog park, there's dog waste receptacles, and it's required that people use them. I know friends of mine go over there just picking up dog waste all day, because they just let their dog do it.
That is zoning
I
ordinance.
thought there was,
An ordinance.
thought there was one of those pull
I
tab for.
think there is something there that people aren't using.
Nobody can see them.
Okay,
It's a trustee ordinance.
right.
Jim Jutras did want to do DNA testing on the dogs in the village, registered dogs in the village. So if Brooke was left behind, they could pick it up and test to see if the dog goes.
They are actually doing that in some of,
Oh,
I
wow.
just heard this in one of
Put that
the
in there.
Williston complexes.
They'll start testing DNA, you know who you are.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I was at the tree
Is that
farm.
for sure, is that real true?
Yeah, I was at the tree
really
farm
is.
today,
Really?
Yeah.
just looking how it looked.
I can see that.
And there were sticks all over the fields, and I asked why people take the dogs there, throw sticks for the dogs to run and just leave them there.
get tested too.
Because even though people let their
Not
dogs run in
for
the
it.
woods, and
Well,
then
and
there's out
any
there, you're
of the
supposed to pick it up out there
maps,
too.
Can this be landscaped so that it's a little more readable?
It's an 11 by 17 map.
Yeah. it's a
Oh,
big
it
map.
can look like
Mine
this
printed
as it
black.
does now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think it was just the way it was
This is
printed.
just because it's printed on this paper.
Yeah.
Saving trees.
That's okay, it's better to ask and see why am I getting this chunk in versus. So the only other thing is that I know, the school district did as I asked, and they sent an addition, so you have the new chart. So the question is, do you wanna go with, and I know you haven't really read it. Yeah, isn't that cute?
Sure.
John's all excited.
Calm down.
Yeah, so when the
Like
phrase
you're
that Melanie has, it says that the population's flat, well, it's sort of flat. As opposed to other districts which are, the population actually is sliding smaller. Ours is
Yes.
at least staying somewhat closer to a steady state.
One could say constant.
Well, flat's kind of,
Yeah, it's.
I mean, that's what I had gotten from the school district, but I can replace it with the new information.
You could say consistent.
Or I can say consistent.
Sounds better than flat.
well, yeah.
You're feeling very flat today.
But I don't know what you wanna do, Melanie, because I know that
Robust.
I recently sent this to you, and I'm not sure it got resent to you, the school
Population.
information.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay,
And so I will, incorporate the change as indicated on what was passed out at the meeting tonight.
okay.
And wasn't it in the last 6 months, either in 7 days, that run through Free Press, it said that Essex Junction was the fastest growing
Mm.
municipality in Chittenden County.
Well, it hasn't, typically in, enrollment projections, you take into consideration, things like housing starts and other, dwelling changes. But that may not catch up, we're not building, you don't get kids for every, if you're
Yeah.
doing senior housing, you're not gonna get kids, for
Mhm.
example.
Yeah, and family
So-
sizes are decreasing, and
Mhm.
if there's
Yeah.
more multifamily development, maybe that's catering to young professionals who don't have children yet.
So it may take a while for some of that information to generate,
Right.
changes in your enrollment projections.
Or you have families splitting up because that's what they do, and,
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
then instead of having one household, you have two households.
that's right.
So it's always in flux.
It's good to have a diversity of housing choices too.
absolutely.
So, but, so other than, I'll send you miscellaneous typo, or the new typos.
And I will try my hardest to.
Just drop
As
the
we
O and
go.
get the D, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, that one's, I didn't know if things had changed.
CWD, TOD.
Now we probably don't even need it.
And now no, actually,
There might be a different,
there's
yeah.
another section that had two, so it's like there's another section that has TO.
Yeah.
I'll
T-
look at all
T
the
for two.
Ds in the plan. Okay, so I will make the changes that we discussed tonight. We should probably have a conversation about
Go back to the beginning.
the report.
Okay,
Yeah, I can do it.
all right.
I don't know that
I
the,
like your belly, Andy.
Right? My wife does.
Gets his haircut like a student, he thinks he's like 19.
I feel like I'm 19.
It's my boy. Any comments?
well, they haven't had it.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I have never been able to master the art of speed.
I thought at the
so-
start of the meeting, we said we were gonna read this to on Monday and say.
We did say that, but we've been prompted again, so,
I'm just making sure that that's, sorry. I'm just making sure that that's what,
That's,
so if you have any changes to this,
so do we have to give you a some kind of a motion or some kind of guidance or direction on any of this material right now?
I
If
don't
it's
know.
finalized on
So
Monday?
I'm looking at statute, or at least a summary of the statute, and I don't know that you have to formally approve the report. Do you know, does anybody recall it from the last time?
No,
No.
no,
I thought we formally approved the
Plan.
whole plan.
yes,
Right.
we did.
Which,
Yeah.
which
Right.
somehow includes the report now. Is the report going right after the executive summary, or does it go as
The
a
report doesn't get included
companion?
in the.
No, I mean, so
It's not
you have it in your document, it's referenced as an appendix, it's a-
That's
It's,
not a
it's more like a
But
cover letter.
it's not a
isn't it?
requirement,
Yeah,
and
put it in.
I don't know that other
I
town
wouldn't bother, I
plans.
wouldn't put it in.
Yeah,
Another
put it
tree
in.
saved.
Isn't
Call the
this
tree
just a
advisory board.
requirement? That
You-
goes
the
to
requirement-
To the neighbors?
Right, the requirement is that you need to alert the neighbors.
Yeah, if this goes out as an email.
Right.
Yeah,
Right, this has to go to the neighbors.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
yeah.
Good.
That's it, really, after that, it's.
I don't think that you
Use
have
this
to
minimal.
approve it.
Just put in there where-
So
for it,
we
or-
have, until Monday to give you comments. So basically for us, we should say Monday at noon. If you haven't heard anything, then it's.
And I'm going to be sending it on, so.
Right, so send all of your comments to Robin, because he has to send them to the rest of us so we can look at them. Mhm.
You do need to consider making a motion to warn the public hearing.
I make a motion that we want.
For,
We have a date in there, right?
23rd.
at 6 PM.
Yes, that's what it says here in this chart.
At 2 Lincoln Street, Essex Junction.
Right.
BT.
Alright, so that's the motion. Any
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Anything else we need to add to our motion? No, you come up with a, do we have to warn something? That'll be
That's
done
what
by.
that is.
That's what this
It's
is.
a Motion,
That is.
I'm just making a motion that we have the hearing.
that's his warning.
Right.
No, I mean, it has to get,
Terry,
Oh, yeah, we'll advertise it and stuff,
yeah,
exactly.
and that'll have some specific language in it.
that's what this is.
And it's just gonna say there's a public hearing for,
He's catching up.
and do we have to put the document as a link to that so they know what we're talking about and have a chance to read it or anything?
Well, it'll be on Front Porch Forum, it'll be on the village website, it'll be on, Design Five Corners, it'll be on downtown Essex Junction, be in the library, it'll be on Main Street. Be on your street, if you want.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Happy days. Close the hearing.
Anything further on the comprehensive plan tonight? No? Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Gee. Hold on. Where's
Get
my-
in.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Mhm.
We didn't keep any of this old stuff, or just this?